The humans activated their ancient tanks, weapons from a bygone era, to face the wrath of the Galactic Council head-on, determined to fight to the last man rather than bow to alien tyranny. In the bustling intergalactic spaceport bar, a wizened reptilian alien named Kayla nursed his drink, lost in thought. His scales, once vibrant, were dulled with age, and his eyes carried the weight of haunting memories. A young, eager Tholian approached, his wide eyes gleaming with curiosity. "Excuse me, sir, you're Kayla, right? The veteran of the Tholian-human conflict?" the youth asked, his voice tinged with awe. Kayla nodded, motioning for the Tholian to join him. "Indeed I am, but calling it a conflict is generous. It was more of a one-sided thrashing that we Tholians are still struggling to recover from, even after all these years." The young Tholian, introducing himself as Xylar, leaned in, his interest piqued. "I've heard whispers about what happened, but never the full story. Could you tell me what really transpired?" Kellar sighed, his gaze distant as he delved into the painful memories. It all began when the Galactic Council, in their infinite wisdom, demanded that humanity pay steep reparations for a minor skirmish with the Zorgons. The humans, stubborn as ever, refused, insisting they had acted in self-defense. As tensions escalated, the Council threatened sanctions, and humanity, in turn, threatened to leave the Council entirely. Xylar frowned, puzzled. But why did the Tholians get involved? A dark chuckle escaped Kellar's throat. "Pride and arrogance, young one. Our leadership, foolishly believing we could succeed where the Council had failed, delivered an ultimatum to the humans. Pay the reparations or face the consequences." The human ambassador, a stern man named Gary Griffin, had a simple yet chilling response. Kellar paused for effect, his voice low and ominous. He looked us straight in the eyes and said, "We will not bow to your threats. If you want war, we will give you a war unlike any you have ever seen. We will unleash the fury of our past upon you." At the time we laughed at his bravado, dismissing it as mere posturing. Little did we know he meant every word, literally. The bustling bar seemed to fade away as Kellar recounted the tale, his words painting a vivid picture of the events that followed. The Tholians, in their arrogance, had underestimated the humans' resolve and the depths of their historical military might. As the conflict erupted, the humans revealed a shocking secret. They had preserved and maintained their ancient tanks, relics from a time when they fought amongst themselves, now adapted to wage war on a galactic scale. Xylar listened intently, his heart pounding as Kellar described the awe-inspiring sight of the human armored divisions rolling across alien battlefields, their cannons roaring and treads churning up foreign soil. The Tholians, caught off guard by the sheer power and resilience of these ancient weapons, found themselves rapidly losing ground, their advanced technology rendered ineffective against the humans' relentless onslaught. As Kellar's tale unfolded, it became clear that the humans' victory was not just a matter of superior firepower, but also a testament to their indomitable spirit and unwavering determination. They fought with a ferocity that shocked the galaxy, their ancient tanks becoming symbols of their defiance against alien oppression. The weight of the story hung heavy in the air, and Xylar realized that the Tholian-human conflict was a turning point in galactic history, a moment when humanity proved they would not be cowed by the machinations of the Council or the threats of other races. They had shown the galaxy the true meaning of humanity, fuck yeah, and had earned their place among the stars, even if it meant unleashing the fury of their past upon those who dared to challenge them. Kellar took another swig of his drink, his eyes glazing over as he relived the memory. Our admiral thought the humans were bluffing. He refused to back down, insisting that we press on with the invasion. That's when the Orcs opened fire. Xylar leaned forward, his eyes wide with disbelief. What happened next? It was a massacre, Kellar said, his voice low and grave. The human ships tore through our fleet like it was made of paper. Our energy shields were useless against their solid projectiles, and our lasers couldn't even scratch their thick armor. They had missiles, too, big ones that split into a dozen smaller warheads just before impact. Our point defense systems couldn't keep up. Kellar shook his head, his gaze distant. In a matter of hours, half our fleet was destroyed. The rest were in full retreat, limping back to Tholian space with their tails between their legs. It was a humbling defeat, one that shattered the Tholian Empire's confidence and reputation. Xyla was silent for a moment, processing the weight of Kellar's words. I had no idea the humans were capable of such a thing. Why didn't they use the Orcs earlier, when the Galactic Council first threatened them? Kellar chuckled darkly. That's the thing about humans, Xyla. They're not like us, they don't go looking for a fight. But when you back them into a corner, when you threaten their way of life, they'll come at you with everything they've got. They'll dig up weapons from their past, things you never even knew existed, and they'll use them without hesitation. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes meeting Xyla's. The Tholians learned that lesson the hard way. We thought we could bully the humans into submission, but we were wrong. They showed us the true meaning of humanity, fuck yeah, that day, and it's a lesson I'll never forget. Xyla sat back, trying to process the incredible story Kellar had just told him. So let me get this straight, he said slowly. The humans, after defeating your entire fleet with their hidden arcs, invited you to a peace conference? And instead of gloating or making demands, they offered you friendship and technology? Kellar nodded. I was just as surprised as you are. We'd always seen the humans as weak, easily cowed by the Council's threats. But in that moment, they showed a strength and grace that I'd never seen before. What do you mean? Xyla asked, leaning forward. Griffin and his people, they could have crushed us, Kellar said, his voice low. They had the power, the technology, the justification. We'd attacked them unprovoked, after all. But instead, they chose to extend an olive branch. They showed us their world, Xyla. The scars of their past wars, the monuments to their fallen heroes. They wanted us to understand that they knew the cost of conflict, and that they never wanted to inflict that pain on others. Xyla frowned. But the Orcs were a last resort, Kellar finished. Griffin made that clear. They were a deterrent, a way to ensure that Earth would never again be at the mercy of alien powers. But he also emphasized that the humans had no desire to use them aggressively. They wanted peace, cooperation, a chance to work together for the betterment of all species. And the technology sharing, Xyla asked. That seems risky. Kellar chuckled. It was a calculated move. The humans knew that the Zorgans and other aggressive species were a threat to everyone. By offering to share the technology of the Orcs, they were ensuring that their allies would be able to defend themselves. It was a way to build trust, to show that they were committed to a lasting peace. Xyla sat back, his mind reeling. I never knew, in school they always taught us that the Tholian-human conflict was a minor skirmish, that the humans got lucky. But this changes everything, Kellar said, his eyes distant. The humans, they're not just another species scrabbling for power in the galaxy. They're something special, Xyla. They have a vision, a purpose, and they're not afraid to fight for it, but they're also not afraid to forgive, to build bridges instead of burning them. Xyla nodded slowly, a new respect for the humans growing in his heart. I think I understand now, he said softly, why you always speak so highly of them, even after everything that happened. Kellar smiled, a rare, genuine smile that lit up his aged face. The humans taught me a valuable lesson, Xyla. That strength isn't just about firepower or technology. It's about compassion, about wisdom, about knowing when to fight and when to extend a hand in friendship. That's something I'll never forget, and it's a lesson I think the galaxy could stand to learn. Xyla leaned forward, his eyes shining with curiosity. So the Tholians and humans became allies just like that, even after such a devastating conflict? Kellar nodded, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Yes, and not just allies, but true friends. The humans, they surprised us all. Instead of holding a grudge or seeking revenge, they extended a hand of friendship. They shared their technology and resources freely, helping us rebuild our shattered fleet and improve our infrastructure. It was a gesture of goodwill that we never expected, not after the way we had treated them. Kellar's expression softened as he remembered those early days of the Alliance. They even invited us to join a new coalition, one dedicated to mutual defense and cooperation. It was a bold move considering the history between our species, but the humans were determined to forge a new path. They believed that together we could face any threat and overcome any obstacle. A proud smile spread across Kalar's face as he continued. I remember the day our first joint fleet launched. It was a sight to behold, Xylar. Human and Tholian ships, side by side, bristling with the latest weapons and shielding technology. It was a symbol of our newfound unity, a testament to the power of forgiveness and cooperation. Xylar tilted his head, a puzzled expression on his face. But what about the Galactic Council? How did they react to this new alliance? Kalar's expression darkened, his brow furrowing. They weren't happy, to say the least. They accused humanity of warmongering and destabilizing the galactic balance of power. They demanded that the Arcs be dismantled and the technology shared with all races, not just the Tholians. He shook his head, a wry chuckle escaping his lips. Ambassador Griffin, of course, refused. He argued that the Arcs were a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience, not a threat. He invited the Council to join the alliance, but only if they agreed to a new set of principles: respect for sovereignty, mutual defense, and free trade. Kalar leaned back in his chair, his eyes twinkling with amusement. The Council predictably refused. They were too set in their ways, too afraid of losing their grip on power. They tried to impose sanctions on Earth and its allies, hoping to force them into submission. A triumphant grin spread across Kalar's face, but it was too late. The Human-Tholian alliance had grown too strong, too influential. Other races, seeing the benefits of cooperation and shared prosperity, flocked to join. The Council's sanctions had little effect, and their authority began to crumble. Xylar listened intently as Kalar's story drew to a close. He leaned forward, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and concern. So the Human-Tholian alliance became the new dominant power in the galaxy. Kalar nodded solemnly, his expression somber. For a time, yes, but as the old saying goes, power corrupts, and as the alliance grew, so did its ambitions. He sighed heavily, his shoulders sagging under the weight of the memories. At first it was just whispers, rumors that some human ships were using the Arcs to bully smaller races into submission, that Tholian commanders were settling old scores with their new weapons. Kalar shook his head. Ambassador Griffin tried to rein in the worst excesses. He was a good man with a strong moral compass, but he was just one person, and the alliance had grown beyond his control. Xylar frowned. What happened then? Kalar's eyes grew haunted, his voice low and strained. The final straw came when a human admiral, drunk on his own power, ordered an Arc to bombard a rebellious colony world. Millions died in the first salvo alone. Xylar gasped, his hand flying to his mouth. That's horrific. How did the galaxy respond? Kalar's laugh was bitter. They turned against us. The Council, seeing their chance, declared the alliance a threat to galactic peace. They rallied the other races to their banner, promising to end human aggression once and for all. He drained his glass, his voice hollow. The war that followed was long and bloody, with atrocities committed on both sides. In the end, the alliance was shattered. The humans retreated to Earth, their fleets in tatters. The Tholians once again were pariahs. Kalar stood to leave, his story finished. And the Council, they reasserted their control, but at a terrible cost. The galaxy was left broken and battered, a shadow of its former self. He fixed Xylar with a piercing stare. So you see, young one, power is a double-edged sword. The humans wielded it well for a time, but in the end it destroyed them, and us with them. Let their story be a lesson to us all. With that, Kalar walked away, leaving Xylar to ponder the rise and fall of the Human-Tholian alliance, and the price of unchecked ambition in the unforgiving depths of space. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.